So recently, and by recently I mean 700 years ago, Jeffree Star went on a podcast called Mom's Basement, that's Keemstar's podcast, to talk more about the Darby Vanity situation. And I know what you're thinking. Sheen, why the hell are you so late? Like, this podcast happened like years ago. Why the hell are you making a video about it now? It's because I just got around to listening to it, and the reason for that is because, well, listen to this.
Yuck. How valid? How valid?
Do you actually blame me for not looking forward to listening to that laugh? I mean, come on. I honestly was not looking forward to listening to that podcast. But I did. I did listen to it. And I remember the day before the podcast, I believe, Keemstar actually went on Edwin's live stream to talk about this podcast. I don't know how many of you guys were there. I was certainly there. And essentially what he said there was, don't get your expectations high. And I was like, well, I never did. I never did with Keemstar. My expectations with Keemstar are always very low. So I went into listening to this podcast with very low expectations. And at the end of the podcast, I was like, this was actually not that bad. Like, it was pretty bad, don't get me wrong. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. For like first 10 minutes or so, they were talking about how hard it is for them to live in such big houses. You know, if you forget a fork in the kitchen, you have to go all the way back to the kitchen. And it's just so far away because a house is just too big. And I'm sitting there listening to this in my apartment, and I'm like, wow, that must be super fucking hard for you. I can't even imagine. So, you know, the podcast was a podcast, but it certainly exceeded expectations in certain parts of the podcast. Even Keemstar asked some good questions. Like, I believe it was Keemstar who asked Jeffree whether this situation with Jeffree and Darby, is it in any way, shape, or form similar to the James Charles situation? It was Keemstar who brought it up. So, you know, I mean, good question there, Keemstar. So overall, my feelings on the podcast was meh. Actually, I would say this. In terms of the amount of content we got out of it, amount of responses from Jeffree we got out of it, it was better than Chris Hansen's interview. Because Chris Hansen's interview was awful. And yes, I have made a video on Chris Hansen's interview, so yeah, check that out. So one of the first things that was discussed in the podcast was about Jeffree Star and alcohol. Now let me begin this by saying, I don't care. I do not care whether Jeffree drinks or not. I don't give a shit. But him lying about such a stupid little thing just proves that he's a fucking liar, and it establishes a general large pattern of him lying. Jeffree claims that he never drinks alcohol and that he had never drank alcohol in the past. And I'm like, there is a compilation out there of Jeffree drinking.
I was like basically straight edge until 22. I never even tried weed. I'm a really late bloomer.
Wow.
And I still have never drank, which is a very big conspiracy on the internet. Because I used to pretend to drink, take pictures, hold bottles, tweet crazy things about being drunk, and I've never drank
You've
before.
never drank
no,
once.
I've
That's
never even
crazy.
sipped a beer. So it's now this big thing of people taking all my old photos. Well, you held a bottle. But I've never taken a sip.
Why the fuck would you, why would you do that? Like, for years and years, you would keep on trolling, essentially, the internet and saying that, oh, look, I'm drinking, and then you say you don't drink and that you have never drunk alcohol before. And then you would go on and on for years to, troll people that you drink alcohol when you don't, why would you do such a stupid thing? Why would you even fake such a thing? It makes no sense. It's like, you drink or you don't drink. It's fine either way. You know, nobody's gonna shame you for drinking. Nobody's gonna shame you if you don't drink. So now, I have to give Keemstar credit here. He actually brought up the tweet that Chris Hansen didn't brought up. He brought up the fact that Jeffree Star tweeted that he saw Darby bring underage girls to his hotel room. He brings that up here. Listen to this.
Let me read the tweet that people are getting hung up on. Okay, so it's an old tweet from you, Jeffree, that says, "I'm going to speak the truth until I die. We saw Davi bring underage girls to his hotel room and do sexual things 100%." So
now listen to his answer, and I want you guys to pay attention to the ending of this clip because that's good.
That's the thing where they're like,
Yes,
he saw. Yeah.
Was that you assuming that happened?
No, that's people in the music scene telling me and me speaking for them.
Okay.
Did I see with my own eyes? No. Were we on tour a few times and there was always people around? Yeah, and I mentioned this yesterday and people were kind of shook. Mothers would bring their daughters to these shows.
I mean, that's such a misleading tweet, isn't it? That's so misleading.
Which part?
No?
Did you notice that? When Colossal was like, well, that's such a misleading tweet though. And it is. Like, you said that you saw. You didn't said that, oh, I think that this person is a predator, or that, oh, I have heard other people who I trust, they are saying that this guy is a predator. No, you didn't said any of that. You said, we saw Davi bring underage girls to his hotel room. We're not the one who is like stretching what this tweet means. No, you're the one who is literally saying right here that we saw Davi bring underage girls to his hotel room. And did you notice what happened when Colossal bring that up? Silence. Let me just play the rest of the clip.
We saw Davi bring underage girls to his hotel rooms and do things 100% illegal. Of course, people are going to interpret that as you seeing that with your own eyes.
Oh, of course. So 10 years later, I'm telling people, did I see a crime or anything actual illegal? No. Other people did and told me that at the time.
So, okay, a couple of things here. So the tweets were not actually photoshopped, like you said in Pity Page's DMs. So the tweets were real, and you lied there. And now you're saying that because, oh, there were rumors going around and there were other people who you trusted, that's the reason who said that Davi was a predator. That's the reason why that you tweeted that we saw, which includes the person who is saying it, Davi bring underage girls to his hotel room when you didn't actually saw that happen. So your whole defense is, oh, there were other people who I trusted say that Davi is a predator. And I trusted them, and that's the reason why I tweeted that I saw? What? Like I believe English is his first language, right? So, I know mistakes can happen, but his excuse here is not that, oh, he made a mistake. His excuse here is, oh, he heard other people say that he's a predator. That's why he tweeted that he saw. That makes no sense. Now, what makes this even worse is the fact that Jeffree's assistant had tweeted out these tweets that recently just surfaced. Oh, and on 2D3F tour, I walked in on at Blood on the Dance Floor getting a handjob from a 16-year-old tranny. Truth right there. Go ahead and tell your girlfriend and at Sally Stitches not to be friends with me. That's why they still love me. Fucking die at Blood on the Dance Floor. At least I'm not a child, fucker. Hope you really dine in hell soon. Down with that Blood on the Dance Floor. On the real, at Blood on the Dance Floor would have underage girls in the car with him. He'd invite girls to come to hotels so he can molest them. He is, and I don't know what she said next. Fucking everything at Jeffree Star and I are saying is the truth. When you had your finger in a 15-year-old is when you done goofed. At Guitar Phil, once upon a time there was a child molester named at Blood on the Dance Floor. He'd like to lure in little girls into his car and diddle their cunts. Now, all these tweets were sent out on August 21st, 2010. Literally a month later. Not even a month. Literally 20 days later on September 11th, 2010. She tweets out this. I just want to say sorry to at Blood on the Dance Floor. I love you and wish you all the success in the world. See you soon. XOXO. Or is it OXOX? So here is Jeffree's own assistant who said that she walked in on Davi getting a handjob from a 16-year-old. And then says that everything that Jeffree Star is saying is the truth. So is your assistant also lying there? Like, what's going on here? Your assistant is literally saying here that she walked in on Darby getting a handjob from a 16-year-old. She's just point blank saying it right here. Jeffree said that we saw, quote, he saw Darby bring underage girls to his hotel room. Here is her saying that whatever she and Jeffree Star is saying is the truth. So, like, what's going on here? It's crazy. It's crazy. And her story, her saying that Darby is a predator and then saying sorry to Darby and kissing his ass, is the similar thing that Jeffree went through. So, like, what's going on here? We just need the truth. Even if it makes Jeffree look awful, it's fine. It's honestly, like, if he just came out and said the whole truth, I would be fine with it, But no, he can't keep his ego aside and just say what's the truth. And even here, her assistant, you know what she's doing, by the way? She isn't addressing these tweets or giving an explanation or anything. Nope, she's not doing any of that. What she is doing is she's deleting these tweets. That's the reason why I'm showing you the screenshots, because she has deleted them. It's absolutely awful to see that some of these people could just look away. Or when it's like convenient for them to do so.
But yeah.
Do you think that there was enough evidence at the time? I mean, not even evidence, because like you said, you keep saying you didn't see it for yourself, but there were enough suggestions there to make you kind of hesitant, A, to work with him, and B, consider the possibility of reporting him. And do you regret not doing so now?
I regret working with them again. I didn't see anything to actually report. So when I say inappropriate behavior, I think people think it's something way more aggressive. And I never saw underage girls with him alone. There is a survivor that has went on record saying, hey, Jeffree and his friends were present during me being there in these times. And 10 years ago, I don't remember that person. And I'm not going to pretend to follow a narrative of what people want me to say that I saw.
So here, the person that Jeffree is talking about here is Damien, formerly known as Jessi Slaughter.
Another thing we talked about actually had to do with Jeffree Star, where you talked about how both he and Jay knew the relationship between you and Darby and actually witnessed him kissing you.
Yeah, they witnessed many girls kissing him. I wasn't the only one. Darby was very affectionate with a lot of his fans, and he was fucking a lot of them.
And him saying that, he doesn't remember who Damien is not true. And here's how I can say that. He tweeted out this, and this shows that he knew who Jessi Slaughter was. He knew who they were. Here is him making fun of Damien using the "you done goof" meme. How, like, do I need to explain the concept that, if you don't know somebody, you can't make fun of them? Do I need to explain the concept that you can only make fun of someone if you know that person to exist? And here is him talking more about Damien. Please.
Have any of these victims come forward and put you in a time and a place where you would have seen?
Yeah, one person has said that they saw me in an environment where they were alone with him and kissing. And I'm like, you guys, absolutely not.
So either Jeffree is lying or either Damien is lying. And I'm fucking sorry, but I'm not gonna believe a person who changes their story every fucking time. First, the tweets were photoshopped and they were not real. That's what he told Petty Page. Then the tweets were real. That's what he told Chris Hansen, and that's what he said in this podcast. There are instances of him saying that, he never drank, but then there is proof that he did. And to top it all off, he is a self-admitted liar. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna believe a liar whose story is changing constantly over a person whose story has been consistent throughout this entire thing. I have seen many interviews of Damien, and their story is very consistent. Unlike Jeffree's, their story never changes somehow, but Jeffree's story somehow always changes. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna believe Damien here. Here's him talking about Damien a bit more.
And this person, you guys, it's so dark. This person, their mother dropped them off at 11 years old to hang out with rock stars and party and drink.
Man.
I wasn't around that environment. Hi, you have Tav in the room. I don't party. I kept to myself and I did my own thing. So I'm not going to be the scapegoat for this piece of shit.
It's interesting to me that oh, Jeffree doesn't remember who Damien was, but somehow he can recall their exact circumstance, but somehow doesn't remember who Damien was. That's very interesting to me. And also about this particular topic. Throughout this entire interview, he repeats a lot of things. One of the things that he repeats a lot is the fact that, oh, I saw mothers bring their daughters. And just saying that, look, it's also about bad parenting. And it's like, we're talking about you. We're not talking about the parents. The fact that the mothers did this does not mean that you are somehow not responsible in any way. Okay, let me compare it to a situation of Onision. There was a girl named Sarah whose power of attorney was signed over by her mother to Kai, Onision's husband, and Onision groomed Sarah, and right after she turned 18, they had sex. Okay, that's kind of the TLDR version. Now, can you say that Sarah's mother was horrible for signing over the power of attorney? Yeah. But that doesn't mean that Onision and Kai are somehow not responsible. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because there's somebody else who's also responsible, that doesn't mean that your responsibility is now non-existent? I don't know. Words are so hard. Oh my god.
So would you say you're a victim of guilty by association in this scenario? Would you say that's an accurate and fair statement?
Guilty of what? In what sense?
Guilty by association. So drama channels are making videos primarily targeting you rather than this other guy, but they're calling you out, so you're effectively guilty by association. Your association,
100%.
prior association with this man. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it would be the same thing, like, whenever Banks has a controversy, like, people, for some reason, hate on me. They're like, yeah.
I just want to say this. I don't like guilt by association. For me, what guilt by association is something like what ContraPoints went through during her, quote, canceling. Essentially, during a 30-minute video essay, she had a person record for like 3 seconds who was like a trans medicalist, and because of that there were many people who were harassing ContraPoints and the people who worked with her, and essentially saying that they should denounce ContraPoints for that 3-second clip that she used in a 30-minute long video essay. That is guilt by association. That is awful. That is absolutely awful. But this is not really guilt by association now, is it? It is about Jeffree tweeting that he saw Darby bring underage girl to his hotel room, and then him touring with him again, and then lying and saying that everything's fine, when he literally called him a child fucker a year before.
Jeffree, bit of a harder question. Do you find it interesting, like in terms of coincidence, that you've been in contact with so many of these depraved criminals over the years, like the one you just mentioned, and there's another one called Ian Watkins. He's now a convicted pedophile serving time in prison.
Let's talk about it.
What are with all these fucking coincidences and like?
I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence. I think when the music scene was full of hundreds and thousands of people, there's gonna be people that do fucked up shit. And Hunter later went on to do a lot of horrible things. You know what I mean? And I really met him, you guys, maybe 3 times. So when people want to say, these were your best friends, no, I tweeted a bunch of offensive shit to them. It was funny back in the day. It stirred up a lot of stuff. And this person, Ian, I've never met in person.
So that is a good question, I would say. You know, what is up with all these coincidences? You know, what's up with Jeffree attracting all these predators around him? And I was gonna make a video on this topic, but I decided not to because it did kind of felt like guilt by association. Okay, hear me out. We're gonna establish axioms here. I'm gonna do this logically. Axiom 1. Hollywood is full of predators. Do we agree on that? Okay. I think we all can agree on that. So statistically speaking, Jeffree Star is a lot more likely to come in contact with predators than you or I, just because he lives in Hollywood. So for Creepshow Art to say that, for her to say, oh, do you know 5 predators in your life? And comparing that to Jeffree's, it's like, well, he lives in Hollywood. And Hollywood is full of predators, so of course he'll come in contact with a lot more predators than you or I. Now, what I think is not immoral is him coming in contact with predators. What I think is immoral is him looking away when it's convenient for him to do so. And with a lot of predators that Creepshow Art talked about there, I genuinely don't know whether Jeffree knew about them being predators or not. And she acknowledges that. But what she says is, well, it's about establishing a general pattern. And I'm there like, people in Hollywood and in entertainment industry will come in contact with a lot more predators than you or I. So with a lot of predators that Shannon talks about, I don't know whether Jeffree knew that they were predators or not. And whether he looked away like he did with Darby. But an exception to that is Hunter Moore. So who is Hunter Moore? Hunter Moore is a person who used to run a revenge porn website. But then there was evidence that Jeffree posted on that website. There were tweets about it. And can you imagine what Jeffree's response was?
For those of you guys that don't know, Hunter Moore had this website that was all around revenge porn. It was really effed up, right? And so he went to jail for that, yeah.
So he went to federal prison for these crimes. He probably, maybe from good behavior for the first time ever, he got out early, which is so sad. But Facebook has banned him from ever allowing to have an account under any name. And he is a convicted criminal. Now, here's the problem. Jeffree Star back in the day used to tweet and lie about a bunch of shit. Not just about Jack Daniels. I also tweeted about allegedly sending banned guys' nudes to him to then use for revenge, which I never did, but I did lie about it 100%.
Oh, yeah. His response was that he's just a liar. Oh, yeah. He just lied there. Oh, look, one of the victims said that you saw Darby kiss Damien. Oh, they're just lying. Never, guys. No, never. Oh, look. Anything that implicates Jeffree into something. Oh, that's just a lie. Anything that implicates him, that's just him lying. I'm sorry, how can we trust Jeffree Star's word ever again? He is just saying that he's a fucking liar. There's so much proof that he's a liar. I don't know how anyone supports him at this point.
There's absolutely there's a parallel here that I have to address, and if I could have the floor for a minute, because it's kind of a long question. But way back 10 years ago, you make this tweet about the blood on the dance floor guy saying, "Hey, we saw him take underage girls to his hotel room doing sexual things, right?" And then later you're saying, "Hey, I didn't technically see it. It was kind of a group of us," which I believe you 100%. But there's this other situation that happened recently with James Charles, where when that whole thing went down, you put out some tweets saying that there's a reason why my boyfriend isn't letting James come over to our house anymore. I'm not going to talk to him. Haven't seen him since Toddy's birthday. He's a danger to society. And then you had a follow-up tweet where it was basically saying, everyone keeps asking me for receipts. I have much to say. What's going on with that?
So here Keemstar is asking a really good question. What is the meaningful difference between this situation and the James Charles situation? And I would play the answer that Jeffree gives here, but honestly, he is not able to provide a meaningful distinction here. Maybe I'll play it at 2x speed.
Okay. Real quick. Is James Charles a danger to society? Is he a predator?
Keem? Listen.
That was a long pause. Long ass fucking pause, though.
I have to ask this.
Listen.
It got crazy.
Yeah, so
I hopped in a little bit.
People do want to put together the parallels of this 10-year situation and me saying this stuff about James. It's a very complicated question. And why?
I know, but it's the same scenario though, because if James is actually a danger, right? Then this is the opportunity, the Darby thing, where you can say something. You know what I mean? Or is maybe you shouldn't have put that tweet out. Which one is it? I'm sorry, Jeffree, but I have to ask.
No, and I'm 100% comfortable with that. It's going to upset a lot of people, but the truth is that someone, and right now I legally can't say who, told us a few things. And we trusted that person's opinion. And then another person said some things that was friends with that man. And it really convinced us that he was a predator.
Is this another case of what happened before with the other guy?
No, this is
Is there a possibility of that? Because, they were telling you about this guy, which turned out to be true now. Is this possible with James?
Yeah, it's similar, but it's people that are in our community that are saying things. And I don't know if they're true or not.
But this is exactly the same thing that happened before, right?
It's actually not.
What?
So if you want, we can pause and I can go in another room and play Banks, what I have on my phone, and he can determine if he would have sent the same tweet. At the end of the day, I'm not going to out a victim of James Charles.
So it seems like, he actually has proof that James Charles is a predator, and he's just, it's just in his phone. He never mentioned that, he reported it to the authorities or anything. I don't fucking trust his word on anything at this point, you know? Here is Colossal asking him how valid is the testimony. And I would play the clip for you, but here's the thing. He actually never answers that question. He never says how valid it is. So, like, it was just him deflecting there. He never answers the question. So yeah, I mean, I wish that Jeffree Star would just put his ego aside and just say the truth. You know, the whole truth. And even if it makes him look bad, I would have more respect for him than just him lying, you know? I would have more respect for him that way. Because then he would be actually helping the victims. Yeah, the worst part about this was him lying about Damien, honestly. Like, Jesus Christ. Damien has gone through so much. They don't deserve this. They don't fucking deserve this. And Damien actually had a meltdown over on Instagram when Jeffree was interviewed by Chris Hansen. And, oh man, they seriously don't deserve this. They deserve better. Okay, editing me here. I just wanted to say, I have a feeling, and let me know what you guys think about this. I do think that Jeffree Star is lying. Okay, when he says that, oh, he has evidence that James Charles is a predator. I think he's just lying there. And he's just doing this to stir up drama. And if that is the case, then that would mean that, you know, he doesn't take sexual assault seriously. Sexual assault is something that Jeffree Star doesn't consider seriously. It's just drama, it's just tea for him, you know, it's something to use against somebody else. Throwing the accusation of being a predator is just drama and tea. It's just another way for him to rile up his fan base against somebody. Absolutely fucking disgusting. I get the feeling that he knows that nothing that he will ever do can ever like harm him in any way. Him doing this, him just calling someone a predator like he did with Dramageddon, like that is like, if somebody else did it, they would be cancelled immediately. But Jeffree is just there and he's not cancelled, and he has collaborated with Shane Dawson, and yeah, he's just doing fine. And I think that he knows that he has reached the level of success so high that nothing he ever does can ever like affect him in any way. Any of this, you know, him calling James Charles a predator without any evidence, and now stirring up Dramageddon again, and him saying that the victim of Darby Vanity lied there. Nothing that he will ever do will ever harm him in any way. He has reached a success level that's just too high for anyone. And I think that is scary. That level of success and fame, I think that is scary. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this interview in the comment section. And yeah, don't touch your face.